Hey everyone, we're going to be jumping straight into this video. I'm going to be showing you guys the first ever product video that I've ever done, and it was actually for an application that I wanted to submit for a company that was looking for a product photographer and videographer. Well, I didn't get the job, but what I did get was invaluable information and experience from that whole ordeal because, my God, there's so much more that went on behind the scenes. But we're not going to get into that right now. I'm going to start rolling the video and then we're going to talk about the breakdown and how I did everything in that video from start to finish. Let's do this. Cool, so now that you've seen the video, we're gonna go through a breakdown of how exactly I accomplished it, what I used, and where the fun began. So let's dive in. Okay, so right off the bat, there's a few things that I'm noticing that I would probably try to avoid this time. First one being is that I can see that there is a big round light that is just shining beautifully on the bottle. Now, normally I would go about my lighting situation a little bit differently. I would probably have a strip light instead of a round one, but I only had the one that's in front of me that's illuminating me right now, and I had to use what I had to use, right? Some decor that was metallically brushed, a mirror, and a glass plate. This is some foliage from outside. You know, I took a couple of leaves and berries that you don't eat as a human being and put it in just for some effect, and this is a diffuser that I had in the room already. This is the table that is being used. So yeah, just making the best of the resources, but let's get going. You can even see, the big, oh my God, the picture is so clear that you can see me in my entirety. Something I would probably avoid another time around, but this is funny. This is great. You can almost see what the color of my glasses. That's how good the video is. This is one of my favorite ones actually. This one here, it was using my wife's satin shirt, blue one, because I had this lotion right on the table here with a little bit of plants and stuff like that. I was like, it doesn't feel glamorous enough. So I was like, you know what, glamorous, luxurious, blah, 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 okay, refined, crystally, diamondy. And I was like, you know what, there's some of these like clear stones that I have somewhere laying around. And so I started spreading them on the satin shirt. I was like, okay, this can work because they're like silver, metallic, see-through. I was like, but what if it came with like a, you know, you're opening a bottle of youth kind of thing. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I use? And then luckily from my wife's grandmother's collection, she had that beautiful, I don't even know what it is. Was it a perfume bottle or an oil bottle or something? If anybody knows what it is out there, really, I would love some help in finding out what this is for, unless it's just for some decorative thing. But that cap, that glass cap, indicates that it was something rather tasty, if you know what I mean. But that's beside the point. We used a paper funnel to pour this stuff into the bottle, and that took a long time because this hole is rather small. So it might have been actually for something a little bit more delicate. Who knows? But yeah, we poured the stuff around, and then my shot was going just kind of like in a circle around. I tried to keep my hand as steady as possible, but in the end, I did have to use some stabilization in post-production to get the shot right. Now, with the firming serum, of course, serum is very, very delicate. You know, it's something that it reduces the fine lines, as it says so appropriately on the label, and it's something that you don't use so often, so it's more delicate, more refined, a little bit less, not so chaotic, not so much going on. So that's why I decided, you know what, let's take away a lot of the stuff that's going on. Let's just make it kind of more of the blue background, a little bit more focus on that fine subject that we have. So yeah, there's that. And another thing about this that I noticed is that I really did have a firm grip on that rotating movement to be in the same direction for the most part. Some of them was a little bit more of a swoop down, but for the most part, I did have that, you know, over the head clockwise motion going on, just to make it seem very natural and smooth. Because if one's like this and then the other one's going in the opposite direction, and you have another opposite direction, it just becomes a little bit nauseating for the viewer. So, flow is everything. Okay, this is a piece of granite that I purchased. It's about this long, this wide. I got it for, I think, $8 or something like that. And I had a return label put on it too because I was gonna only use it once. But yeah, we decided, just like, you know what, let's put it on this little slab. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have gotten it larger. What are we gonna do? Because it was just like this long, you know, so I didn't have a lot of space to work with. But I was like, well, what if you drag, you know, the lotion out to kind of emphasize the texture, how firm it is, the color, all that kind of stuff for the viewer. She did that. This was actually the first shot that we got, and the consistency of the lotion looks like that because it was the first time. It was completely full. We actually went through shots where we were desperately running out of it, and I had to put it back in the tube to get more shots. Take it from me, if you think you're gonna have some things like this, get 2, maybe get 3. But if it's expensive, I wouldn't recommend it. This was expensive, and that's why I only got 1, and I wasn't even sure that I was gonna get a return on it. So let's take it from there. This was a crazy shot to get, even though it looks extremely simple to make. So. God, you see that big round light and me and my wife in the reflection. Oh, that's killer, man. But I can see that I've still adopted some of the things that I've used before to give kind of like the foreground with the leaves in the front of the bottles and then leaves in the back, both of which I took from the tree outside. And I have some water actually underneath. Oh no, is that water? No, that's the mirror. I have a mirror underneath them to kind of emphasize height and depth. But yeah, oh man, that reflection is killer. For this one, it took a little bit more effort because I was like, you know what? Originally my idea was for the bottle to be kind of on a very flat surface of water where it was just the bottle and black. But the black had reflective properties. So, because I had invested already so much money into it as it was, I was like, you know what? Let's try to make it work with what we have. And so I was like, I got some of those metallic stones and stuff like that, and I just kind of propped it on there, and just to kind of give it like a little bit of a podium, I guess. I'm not sure if you could call it that. But yeah, and then we poured water all around the base, but because of the texture of the backdrop and the way the table was, the water kept leaking out, and I wasn't about to fill the whole thing up with water and have water dripping everywhere. That would have been a nightmare. So we ended up using some towels, but the towels were absorbing the water too quick. So at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, it's fine, we'll just use a little bit of water. And so my wife started pouring it, and originally I wanted it to be kind of pouring from everywhere, kind of like looking like rain and like a kind of like rainforest idea where it's like really, really refreshing and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, we just poured the water on top in slow motion, and when it gets to this point at the end of your shoot, you're kind of like overwhelmed. But looking back on it, I probably would have gone ahead and done what I needed to do to get the shot in my mind, because I had the capability of doing it. I just needed to invest a little bit more time. But you know what? You live and you learn and you move on, like I always say. So that's that. And yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a very true statement. The possibilities are endless. It just has a lot to do with the amount of creativity that you can muster up inside of you. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult mentally, and I am the first person to tell you that it is not easy. It is not easy to create the shots because there are so many factors that play into hand. You know, lighting. Oh, I need this kind of softbox, and I need this kind of extra material around, or I need a bin or a fish tank or something like that. But what I can tell you is that if you do continue to focus on that goal and you use what you have around you, it will inspire you over time to get creative, utilizing more and more things on a, maybe a less expensive way, or yeah. You're just gonna see how things unfold if you're truly dedicated and you want things to work out. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video. I know I did, because it's really always fun to go back and see your first work, albeit sometimes kind of embarrassing, like, oh, but if you're embarrassed by something from the past, that means that you have learned from it and that you have graduated from that. So keep that in mind when you're doing your next shoot and you're trying to improve on your craft. And now comes the fun part. You get to watch the video again, but this time, you're gonna know every little nuance. Maybe not everyone, but you're gonna have a really, really good idea of how it was made and how it could have been improved upon. So when you watch it now, there's probably gonna be things that bother you. Like, oh, I could totally see what he was talking about. So let the fun begin. Write some comments, get down in there and tell me what you would have done to change it or make it better, or yeah. So until next time, have a great day and I will see you very soon.